Have you ever got tired of living a life that keeps throwing up the same old problems and tried starting afresh? The basic premise of the episode The Party's Over Isla de Senorita is that Ice King leaves his kingdom to turn over a new leaf. What could be better than starting a new life on the stomach of a sentient island that's in a bad relationship with a bad-tempered god?
Everywhere I look, I just see opportunity.
Change is hard, and the Ice King hasn't yet broken his princess kidnapping habit. The episode opens with Ice King sneaking into Princess Bubblegum's room and trying to whisk her back to the Ice Kingdom. Awakened by Ice King's creepy muttering, Bubblegum gets into an argument with Ice King, who protests that he's the heavy lifter in their relationship. But when Bubblegum couldn't make it clearer she wants him to leave, he respects her wishes this time and leaves. When Ice King returns to the Ice Kingdom, he is still pining for Bubblegum. In an unexpected attempt at growth, he sets off to leave Ooo and start afresh, only to be caught up in a storm and washed up on a tropical island. Drawn to the sound of singing, he realizes that the singer is the island itself, the Senorita. It turns out the island sings whenever her boyfriend, Party God, is away. When Party God drops in for a moment, Ice King sees the suboptimal relationship, and later he and the Senorita bond over their relationship grievances. Of course, in Ice King's case, the relationship he's describing only exists in his imagination. The Senorita tries to break up with Party God, but when she can't summon the courage, Ice King decides to break up for her, which becomes a full-on superpowered battle, ending only when Ice King freezes a cloud that falls on Party God's head. To salvage the situation, Ice King floats back to the island, puppeteering the unconscious or dead Party God, and this time the Senorita is able to break up with him. Inspired by the exchange, Ice King flies back to Bubblegum's bedroom to break up with her. But that done, as he flies off, he reassures himself we'll work it out. So much for starting afresh. It's hardly a shocking take to suggest that Ice King is a bit of a creepy oddball, but over the years Adventure Time has had quite a few stories focusing on the strange and often villainous wizard. In this story, he is very much the viewpoint character. In the book Characters and Viewpoint, writer Orson Scott Card suggests that it's strangeness, not familiarity, that excites our curiosity. But he also argues that making a weird or unpleasant character likable is very hard. So why can we stomach whole episodes about Ice King? According to Card, even the strangest characters can be humanized enough that we're emotionally invested in their fate. Make a character suffer and we're likely to pity them, even if we don't like them. A villainous character can have our understanding, even compassion, but that doesn't mean anyone, no matter how vile, can be sympathetic. To illustrate this, Card uses Nora as a name for any character in this situation. As long as you don't deny that Nora did the terrible things you showed her doing, as long as you show that Nora is still the same person who did those bad things, then the audience will never be on Nora's side. The most you can do is soften their hatred for her, show that she is more to be pitied than feared. The writer Joanne Harris has a more optimistic take. In her book 10 Things About Writing, she argues that because perfect characters are dull and unbelievable, struggling characters draw us in. Our flaws and how we cope with them are part of what makes us human, and if you want your characters to appear complex and three-dimensional, then you need to give them believable flaws as well as believable qualities. Motivation and self-awareness are key to Harris's understanding of what makes us connect with a character. She focuses less on who is likable or unlikable and more on our ability to empathize, which she notes we can do even with a deeply damaged or morally ambivalent character. There are plenty of people who might try to spice up their stagnant lives by visiting a new restaurant or trying a new brand of coffee.
Instant Maxwell House. Millions of tiny flavor buds of real coffee.
Credit where credit's due, the IK shows how motivated he is to change by going all out and trying a new life in a new location. It's fair to respect that attempt. As Harris puts it, we always relate better to people who know their own weaknesses and are struggling to overcome them. Ice King has been struggling to overcome his madness for a long time. I touch on this in my video about the episode Beyond This Earthly Realm. Ice King has also been struggling to create lasting relationships, and there you could argue he has made incremental success. In this episode, not only does he start an argument with PB and then actually listen and take her response on board, he makes a friend he can commiserate with, the Senorita. And sure, technically he commiserates with Gunther all the time, but penguin quacks do not heart-to-heart conversation make. It's notable that while Ice King is trying to live his new life on the island with his new friend, he keeps the crown off. This works well as a visual symbol of his genuine attempt to overcome his dysfunction and mental illness, which in Adventure Time's world building are quite literally attached to his crown. Unfortunately, Ice King's concern for the Senorita sends him back into his fixation on relationship drama, and there are two ways of looking at this. On the one hand, his confrontation with Party God can be seen as a big part of what makes this episode work, an ironic instance of Ice King standing up to a powerful being that can't sustain a healthy romantic relationship, an odd moment where Ice King is empathetic and kind, so we're not stuck with an irredeemably hateable character for the whole episode. On the other hand, he puts his crown back on to confront first Party God, then Bubblegum. Ice King's deep loneliness, which manifests in him desperately seeking out lasting romantic relationships, is like an open wound that starts to bleed anytime he prods at it with his romantic fixations. Or put more simply, Ice King spent a moment healing with the Senorita, but then her relationship drama sent him straight back into his own dysfunction. It's an episode where Ice King gets a glimmer of awareness at how dysfunctional his behavior truly is, and for a moment he sees how desperately he needs to change, but then he falls back into his old habits. Ice King does eventually ease off on the kidnapping princesses thing. Change is hard. The parties over Isla de Senorita is one of my all-time favorite Adventure Time episodes, simply because I find it incredibly funny, and I can't say exactly why, but I do think a lot of thought was put into how to make someone as creepy as Ice King entertaining as a viewpoint character for the whole episode. And it's an interesting look at his difficult struggle to grow past his flaws and change. If you liked my take on Ice King's friendship with the sentient islands, you can help the channel by liking and subscribing. And drop it in the comments if you know where the party god was actually killed in this episode. Maybe he was, I admit I never was entirely sure. Thank you very much to those of you who've subscribed already. Have a great week, embrace the weird, and thank you for watching! As for Party God, my theory is that he is out there in space, frozen by the inky void, floating towards faraway stars. One day he may be caught by the gravity of a distant world, and then his parties shall reign on alien shores. Party God shall rise again.